Good afternoon, we are Group 10. Our topic for the term project is the decision-making model, and we will illustrate the decision-making model of Amazon. Here is our table of content. First, let me introduce the three decision-making model: the rational model, bounded rationality model, and the garbage can model. A rational model is an analytical process that leads to a fact-based decision. People need to follow the step in order to gain the greatest benefit. In real life, people will apply this model when they are considering their career path or when they are buying a car and investing. All these decisions need a rational analysis and detailed calculation. However, people are not always making a rational decision because they will be affected by external factors such as emotion. Also, it is difficult to get perfect information in the real world, so we cannot always make the most rational decision. The bounded rationality model, it highlights the limitation of humans' ability to make a decision. As we cannot always make the most rational decision, we will rather make a suboptimal decision that can satisfy us instead of spending time analyzing information. For example, if a firm is suffering from a huge loss, the manager is suggested to apply the bounded rationality model because the longer time to design, the firm may lose more. So the manager will choose a suboptimal decision rather than analyze all information. Finally, it is the garbage can model. Decision maker will apply this model when they work in an irrational environment with a lot of uncertainty. They don't know about the situation and information, so that they make decisions without waiting. They just gathering all the information and choose randomly. Actually, in the reality, it is not desirable because people want to avoid irrational decision making. They tend to analyze, or in other words, a good leader always have experience and they will make things well analyzed. So these are the three models we use when we are making decisions. And we have worked on an interview with a current employee of Amazon Hong Kong, and we will discuss it later.
Now I will talk about the Amazon's Hong Kong models of decision making. The model of decision making that it used is the rational model. Before we analyze and break down the decision making process of Amazon, let's see what our interviewee Lee has said for more insider insight.
我哋側向一邊咯，我哋多數都係有樣嘢叫做 customer accept 嘅，即係我哋 make decision 咧，我哋多數都要諗下邊樣嘢係對個客人係最好。
你哋會唔會諗下有冇其他啲alternative 啊嗰啲嘢？
會，呢個一定會。即係我哋多數其實成日都會諗有冇多啲好嘅 solution。我哋成日都會提出個疑問啦，到底其實咁樣會唔會好啲啊？咁樣會唔會好啲啊？咁樣會唔會好啲？跟住我哋再傾，其實邊個先係最好？去比較咯。我哋會做個 research 去做 validate， 即係我哋去試我哋去試咗嗰件嘢係得唔得嘅先去俾個答案個 client。同埋你頭先話會唔會 analysis 咧？其實會，我哋 working backward 啦，我哋都會成日都會要做嘅嘢就係諗下個客人嗰個 role。即係例如你其實你而家我同你係學生，我哋就會諗下你其實你需要啲咩？你平時嘅工作係做啲咩？例如我哋 check 下佢 LinkedIn， 其實咁樣去分析，同埋睇下個公司嘅 background。
Based on our interviews, we can see the detailed decision-making process of Amazon. First, the decision makers would gather information of the client by doing background checks on LinkedIn to analyze and identify the company roles, needs, and problems. Second, the decision maker would develop other alternative solutions that are at least two or above through discussion. Third, the decision makers would evaluate by subjectively validate and compare all alternatives based on their decision criteria to predict the potential outcomes. And usually, the feasibility and effectiveness would be the most heavily weighted decision criteria. Eventually, the decision maker can choose the most suitable solutions and implement it from the client for the client. Throughout the process, the decision maker would carefully examine all possible solutions step by step to make a logically sound decision. In this case, that would be how Amazon's Hong Kong decisions are usually made.
After knowing about the real-life example of how Amazon's employee make their own decision, let's see how the culture affect their decision-making process. According to Amazon, we can see that there are 4 cultures in total, including customer obsession rather than competitor focus, passion for invention, commitment to operational excellence, and long-term thinking. So how does Amazon's culture affect their decision-making? According to Lee just now, we can see 2 main characteristics from their decision-making process. The first is customer-centric, as they focus on their needs and do much research before making the decision. Also, they choose the best among them. We can see that the customer-centric is reflecting the customer obsession through the values, and also they have the passion to invent and do the research before they really making the decision, while using the rational model gives them the opportunities to find alternatives in evaluation to find out the best solution, which can see that they're striving for the operational excellence for the customers, and also they have the long-term thinking because they do much more research and try to figure out which alternative is the best. After knowing about how Amazon's culture affected decision-making as a corporate that originated in America, so how does American culture affect them? There are 4 characteristics of American culture that is significant in the world, which is personal achievement, individualism, efficiency and practicality, and democracy and freedom. So according to Lee, the Amazon's decision-making, we can see the characteristics of employees are allowing to make their own decisions, striving for the best solutions from alternatives, and each employee can handle their own clients, which brings them to be do together. We can see that when they're handling their own clients and own decision, they can have the sense of achievement through themselves, which can reflect the American culture as well. And also the individualism and efficiency could be reflected through the decision making that they do not need to be bounded by their managers or the team, but they can use their own freedom to think of the alternatives and strive for the best solutions. So we can see that even Amazon is an American corporate, their culture are reflecting from their decision making as well as different branches in the world.
After discussing the decision-making model and culture of Amazon, here comes the examples concerning their ethical decision-making. So is Amazon an ethical corporation? According to our interviewee, Amazon uses the accommodating approach to fulfill responsibility by providing benefits to employees. For example, they provide medical insurance to them. Meanwhile, they also have a strong emphasis on work-life harmony. They are not required to work overtime and can have a flexible working schedule, and work from home is also available for workers even before COVID. It can also be seen that Amazon uses the proactive approach to actively seek out ways to solve the host country's problems. For example, they showed their care about environmental sustainability by co-founding the Climate Pledge in 2019. Moreover, to promote racial equality, they made donations to organizations to improve the lives of Black people and African Americans. From these examples, we can see that Amazon shows concern for environmental and social problems. However, when we take a look beneath the surface, it is not difficult to find that they have been involved in ethical issues such as running sweatshops and violating human rights by labor abuse. Here are some viewpoints from Maureen Donnelly, a former Amazon Fulfillment Center employee in the United States Staten Island. Firstly, she mentioned that she had long working hours of almost 12 hours. Secondly, the work conditions are very poor. The environment is very hot, but their request for fans is rejected because the manager said that the robots don't function well in the cold. She thought that the robots were treated even better than humans. The rules that staff have to obey are also very inhuman. For example, not allowing the use of cell phones causes a problem for parents. Maureen said that a mother wasn't able to provide an emergency number for her babysitting parents or her kids' school. In addition, they were not allowed to have food or drinks except water. Maureen also said that she had to inform her manager when she's going to the bathroom, but when she requested bathroom breaks too frequently, the bosses would get all hot and bothered. There was once when her break got cut short because she went to the bathroom 5 minutes early. According to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, Emerson has violated human rights by neglecting their physiological and safety needs from the previous examples. Also, they neglected their esteem needs, as Maureen stated that they have a low sense of achievement, as they were always ordered by their bosses, and there is no sense of teamwork between staff. In conclusion, from our case study, we can see that a country's culture is related to how companies shape their organizational culture. At the same time, a company's organizational culture affects its decision-making process. And lastly, being ethical and socially responsible is important to a company in order to promote integrity among their employees and gain trust from their stakeholders.